I'm Molly Idle, and today we're here in my studio so that I can show you how I use paper and pencils to make art.
This is how I make art. It all starts with a simple line drawing. I take that piece of paper on which I've drawn just an outline of what I would like to color. In this case, it's the mermaid coral. Then I take my kneaded eraser. It's called a kneaded eraser because you can knead it like bread dough. It's so cool. It's really satisfying to play with. Anyway, I take my kneaded eraser and then I pat my drawing down with it. Like silly putty, if you've ever played with silly putty, it picks up some of the graphite that I draw with, in the same way that silly putty picks up ink from the newspaper. I rub the kneaded eraser all over the graphite because even though I've drawn this outline, I don't want the gray of the pencil line to show through when I add color. So I use the kneaded eraser to help me a little bit. Then it's time to replace that gray outline with color. For that, I like to use Prismacolor's very thin pencil. This is carmine red. It's a great red. I like it so much, I have it on my nails. Then I gently go over the outline that I made with pencil in color. Because what I'm going to draw over everything with are also colored pencils. They are colored pencils that are made out of wax. And wax, as you know, is semi-translucent. That means you can see some light through it, which means that we'll see the different colors through each other because they're not opaque, which means you can't see through them. You can see through these. The outline takes a long time to do because I'm very particular about it. I really like to make sure when I do the outline that everything looks just like I'd like. Sometimes that means I have to change the angle of the paper so that my hand and the pencil better fits the shape that I'm trying to draw. Turning the paper allows me to take advantage of my body's natural movement. Our wrists are hinge joints, so our hands move in arcs, which means our pencils move in arcs. And so turning the page allows me to better follow those curves the way my body naturally wants to move. Yours too. When I'm done, the outline looks like this. This one has a couple colors. Then it's time to start coloring the background, big areas. I'm going to start with the water our mermaid is in. I'm going to start with muted teal, light aqua, pale sage, light gray green, and cream. And I have this one too. I think it's called malachite green, but it's a really pretty aqua. I'm going to save that one for later. When I draw, I start with the darkest color first. You remember how I said that these pencils were semi-translucent, meaning that you could see one color through the other when you're done. Little circles, coloring. But this is going to take a while, so let's speed things up. Again, I keep turning the paper. And I transition from the darkest color into the next lightest, and then the next lightest, and so on. The idea is that even though I'm not pressing really hard to blend, the colors are overlapping. And the more layers that you make, the softer the transition is. See? This is what it looks like when I'm done with the first pass. Then I'm going to take these same colors work through again. So up to now, I've been drawing so light, I bet you can barely tell that I'm coloring. You can add layer upon layer, but if you don't press very hard, all you ever get is light strokes. Now I'm going to color a little darker, but you could go even darker still. These pencils are really incredible. Let's go with the middle pressure. Here we go. I'm going to take this paper aside and now start coloring. Better speed this up again because it does take a while. But you can tell how one color is starting to blend into the other. And when we're done, it looks like this. Now it's time to press really hard. Here we go. This time I'm going to start with the lightest. It gets dull right away, but that's okay. Sometimes you want a pointy pencil, sometimes you want a dull pencil. A dull pencil lets me blend even better. But it does mean that the pencil can get really short, really fast. Lots of sharpening. This is a pencil extender. When my pencils get too short, this is what I reach for because I love my pencils and I want to make the most of each and every one of them. And so you set your tiny little pencil nubbin in there and suddenly it becomes a pencil long enough to comfortably hold again, which is awesome. So we can keep coloring until it looks like this. With our background complete, it's time to color Coral herself. We're going to we've got scarlet, carmine red, quinacridone pink, which is a really fun color. It's the most coral-like, I think. Then we have pink, blush pink, and deco pink. That's a lot of pink, but let's start with scarlet. Again, starting with the darkest. You guys have been here before. We'll speed this up so that you can see what it's like to color in coral. Lots of pencil sharpening. And this is where I start to lay in bits that maybe weren't lines that I drew in before, but are now just areas of color. And I can go from scarlet to carmine red, working up and down that value scale from darkest to lightest. Again and again. And you can see how she starts to take shape. I color in areas bit by bit, but I'm also imagining what she looks like if she were drawn in real life. 3 dimensions, giving her volume as well as shape until she looks like this. Then, you know it. Fast forward again to that middle area of pressure, that medium pressure that we were talking about before, where things start to blend together, little bit by little bit. She's looking more and more like herself. After medium pressure, this is what coral looks like. Then it's time to press really hard and blend, blend, blend. But it looks so smooth. The wax actually gets a little warm when you press this hard, and it creates friction, that pressing the pencil against the paper. And so the wax softens and it blends easier in the pencil. I know this looks like it's happening really fast, but that's because I've put it in time lapse for you. In real time, it takes me about 3 hours to create a drawing this size. Which may seem like a long time, but one of the things I love most about art is that there's no prize for finishing first. No need to rush. It's wonderful to take your time over the little things. When you're done, you have something precious you can hold in your hands, just like coral does here. Thank you so much for taking the time to visit my studio and see how I make art.